Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Uh, I watched by happenstance today. I watched this video that's on your screen. This is by KGTropicals. It's how to destroy an industry. Amazon.com sucks. Now, you notice I'm not subscribed to KGTropicals. I really like his Tank Talk podcast with the guy from what's his name? Anyways, I'm not subscribed to him either, but I am subscribed to the two of them talking about talking about uh, industry stuff together, fish stuff together, because the two of them have a good chemistry together, and they're both bald 50-year-old men with beards, and who doesn't love bald 50-year-old men with beards? But I'm not really a fan of his content by itself, so I don't even know why in my feed. I am, however, you might notice, subscribed to Bentley Pasco. Now, I like Bentley Pasco. He has this good-natured kind of quality about him that is just really easy for me to like. And I basically use him as a podcast a lot of times on a Wednesday night. I listen to him stream while I'm driving home because he doesn't have any like visuals or anything like that, so I don't have to watch anything. I just have it playing while I'm driving and listen to what he's talking about. So I happened to watch this right before I started driving home. I had this one playing in my office while I was finishing up my work for the day. And then when I jumped in the car, I started watching this. And why is that important? Well, because that means that this, even though it was a couple days ago, it was fresh in my mind. The 14th, so 2 days ago. And so, just so we don't have to watch two videos today, I don't want to do that. We're going to go over, or at least I'm going to go over. I don't know if anybody else is going to watch this. This is not my usual content, and my normal fan base probably won't appreciate this at all. Fan base, like I have fans. Whatever. My normal viewers won't watch this. But anyway, it just I felt like I wanted to talk about it. So in the first video, KGTropicals has 3 points. You can see that he has, I don't know why he did his video as just disjointed as he did. I have a feeling that he's one of these guys who puts together a video and then as he's editing it, what about this? And he goes back and adds things. That's my best impression, my best guess. But he had 3 dates. He has 2 dates here, and then he adds 2006 a little bit later. Right about in here, he starts talking about 2006. So the 3 dates are the important things for his video on why Amazon.com is destroying the mom and pop, the aquarium industry. And those 3 dates are 2000, it opens the site to third-party sellers. 2005, it starts Amazon Prime, the free shipping, bundled with all the other goodies that you get with Amazon Prime. So there's a lot of value in having the Amazon Prime, part of which makes purchasing things on Amazon even more convenient because you get free shipping, right? So it opens the site to third-party sellers. Then you get the Amazon Prime. And then in 2006, which is the one that I think he adds as an afterthought, they start allowing the manufacturers basically to ship just directly to Amazon, and Amazon will sell their product for them and will take care of all the returns and customer service and yada yada. So basically all you really have to do as a manufacturer is your only expense is to manufacture the product, ship it over, and then you pay Amazon a little bit of money. Amazon handles the rest. They make their percent, but you cut out wholesalers, you cut out the retailer, you're cutting out a lot to get this, right? So why do these 3 things destroy the fish industry, the mom and pop stores? Well, so I'm going to take them in reverse order. First of all, the Prime, which is the 2005. That made it just as easy and convenient. Unless you wanted it same day, it was as convenient or easier to just sit on your couch and buy the shit and have it sent to your house. All things being equal, if you could sit on your couch, buy the shit, and have it sent to your house for no increase in cost, that, I mean, I'm just talking about on whether or not things are just at parallel, on par. If the cost at your local fish store is the exact same as the cost on Amazon, you still have the added cost of having to drive to your local fish store, park, walk in, find the product. Do they even have it? Oh, Jesus, I forgot to call ahead and see if they even had the thing in stock. Because this isn't a giant fucking warehouse that has 500,000 of these in stock. This is a mom and pop fish store that might have 2 in stock on any given day of the week. So they're just huge. So in order to compete with that, the mom and pop retailers have to have that extra something, right? That extra whatever the fuck it is. And a lot of that you could probably get away with selling actual live fish, right? Because if you buy fish from even a great online retailer like Dan's Fish or Wet Spot or someplace like that, you don't get to pick the fish. Like you don't get to be like, I want that angelfish right there. I want that zebra danio right there. You don't get to do it. You just say, I want an angelfish. I want a zebra danio. And you get whatever they scoop out and put in a bag. So selling the live fish can be a way to do it, but already the mom and pop shop is on their back foot. Then in 2000, now we're going back in time to 2000, the opening the site to the third-party sellers. Well, in order to really understand this point, you have to understand that these third-party sellers don't really have a lot of overhead cost. Again, they buy directly from the wholesaler, they buy directly from the manufacturer or the wholesaler in as big of a lots as they can get, so they get the biggest discount they could get. And it goes right to Amazon, and Amazon sells it for a bit of a commission. But meanwhile, the third-party seller, number one, doesn't have to maintain a relationship with the wholesaler. It could be a fly-by-night. They could open up a new company name every day of the week to do this shtick with. They don't have the expense of a brick-and-mortar store. They don't have the expense of employees. They don't have the expense of running lights and utilities and paying a lot of the taxes, business licenses that a mom and pop store has to have, any special permits for the sale of live animals, paying employees to do stupid things like just clean fish tanks, right? That doesn't make anybody any money, but you got to do it. Having to entertain people who let their kids just run around the store for whatever reason. You know, they don't have any of these extra costs. Add into that the minimum price, the MPA, so there is a thing, I forget what he called it in here, but basically good manufacturers have MAP price, the MAP price, minimum advertising price, right? So the MAP price is important on name brand things. If you want to sell a name brand product, a good product, a well-made product, the example here is Siche, the Title 110. This is the example he's giving. MAP price means that if you sell it for less than that price, the Siche itself, or CCAM, or whoever the manufacturer is, they'll send you a letter saying, hey, you got to stop doing this. And if you keep doing it, then they'll stop selling to you, right? So as a mom and pop store, you have that address, you have that business license. You can't just change at the drop of a hat and go away. If a competitor finds out you're selling below MAP price, they could report you to the manufacturer, like Fluval or CCAM or somebody like that. And all of a sudden you get into a lot of hot water. So you can't sell it below that price. There's a lot of disincentive for you to sell below that price. If you want to keep carrying it, if you want to keep buying it, you've got to sell it at the MAP price. But on Amazon, Amazon doesn't care about the MAP price. And so this example here shows Monster Pets, who the fuck, or whatever the fuck Monster Pets is, nobody knows, is selling the product for 20 some odd dollars below MAP price. Now, how can a mom and pop store sell it for that much below the markup, below the minimum advertised price? And you have to remember that mom and pop shops, they don't sell a lot of these things. I have a fair few fish stores that I frequent, and by frequent I mean I don't get to them nearly as often as I would want to, but I see a lot of dust gather on their products. And I'm not saying that these are bad fish stores. I'm saying they don't sell a lot of some of the higher end filters like the Tidal 110 or the Fluval FX6. And so they need, in order to essentially pay for that space, because you got to remember that a lot of these stores are paying like $5 a square foot just for rent or more. They're paying a good deal of money. I remember I used to work at a fish store a long ass time ago, like back in the early 90s. I worked at a fish store, and that fish store had to move because the place they were at raised at that time the cost of square foot from $1 to like $1.25 a square foot, and so they had to move to another place. When I was in the moving and storage business, warehouse space was like $3 a foot. So I don't know what retail space is now, but I'm assuming it's going to be quite expensive. So if you're going to be paying $3 a square foot on a product that you maybe sell one of every 2 or 3 weeks, you've got to be able to make enough money to pay for that spot. And so yeah, there's probably $20-$25 worth of profit built in to the price of what the mom and pop store sells the Tidal 110 for. But they're not moving a massive volume of them because they got to wait for people to come in the store to buy them, right? So it's a real problem. The MAP price is a weapon that can be used against them, but they can't use it to enforce it on some of these people on Amazon. So that's bad. And then the third thing that he was talking about was the Amazon opening up to be a fulfillment center. So this is where any manufacturer can manufacture whatever the fuck they want, send it to Amazon, Amazon will sell it. And so his point there is that you have all these different products that get manufactured for fucking way less than what a name brand would, right? Name brand, I think he shows that like a name brand product, 50-watt heater is something like, instead of $8 for the off brand, it's like $40 or $50. And there's probably a giant quality difference. Don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting, here we go. So this is the off brand 50-watt heater for $8.79, and then a name brand heater that would have a nice warranty. Here we go. So this is a Sicce heater. $42.99 is the minimum advertisable price. That's not a giant difference. It's 5 times the price, right? 5 times the price. It might be 5 times, but again, he highlights this in his video. The point is that, like, people don't know, like, most people who are new to the hobby or who don't know any better, they're looking at, I could get a heater for $8 or I can get a heater for $40. Obviously, I'm going to get the $8 heater. It's because these no-name companies are able just to flood super ass cheap stuff under high top, what are some of the other names? Yuki Halu. I mean, just some crazy fucking names that you've never heard of. High Towing. AQQA. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Aquaneat. I mean, all sorts of these things. Like, you don't know what the fuck they are. I don't know what the fuck they are. You have no idea how well they're manufactured or not. So anyway, it's a problem. And one of the things that KGTropicals, his name is John, so I'm going to call him John. One of the things he doesn't talk about this in this video, but I've heard him talk about on other live streams, in other streams, I should say. I think they were live streams. No, they weren't. They were the fish talk ones. Is the experience that a new hobbyist has where they go to one of these box stores and they buy fish and the fish immediately die. It's bad. It turns people off of the hobby. What about the experience where people buy the fish and they go online and they buy I need heater. I'm going to go buy a heater. I need a 50-watt heater. The guy at the aquarium store said I need a 50-watt heater. So here I am. I'm going to buy a 50-watt heater. Oh, here's one for $8. I'm going to buy it, throw it in the tank. I'm good. Fish get cooked. Fuck this hobby, right? I just lost all my expensive fish that I spent the last couple of weeks getting to know, and now they're cooked, right? It's bad for the hobby. So these are going to be traps for a lot of new hobbyists who don't know any better. You know, how do you tell a good product from a bad product? Well, you can't judge by the manufacturer. You don't even fucking know. You're going to guess by these stars, but a lot of these people, they give a 1-star rating if the delivery sucked, right? And like, oh, that has nothing to do with the product. They give a 5-star rating because, I just bought it, plugged it in, turned it on, it heated up my tank. Yay! Well, congratulations. You've reviewed it for a whole day, or maybe not even that, right? So, and who's to say that some of these aren't being bought, right? So that's John's video in a nutshell. So now we're going to listen to Bentley Pasco, who again I like. He's just going to swing and miss all over this motherfucker, like just driving me absolutely nuts when I'm listening to him on the way home. And that Well Summer Chicken, by the way, who was in my last live stream, is just desperate to get on camera again. Ugh. Little attention whore. All right, so without any further ado, we are going to go to Bentley Pasco. Take it away, Bentley.
You understand already some of the things I want to talk about, but let's talk about the thing that all of the aquarium industry has to learn, and this is mostly in the realm of your local fish stores. However, this can apply to like manufacturers.
So if you were talking about the Title 110, I bought a Title 110 and a Title 75 to test them. I am a AquaClear hang-on back filter guy, and I did not like them. Those two CJ filters are. I tried them out. The CJ 75 I tried in the house. I replaced a AquaClear 70 with it, and I could not get that thing to be quiet. I tried for months. It didn't matter what level the water at. Something about the way it's designed made it make a trickling noise all the fucking time. Couldn't handle it. I finally gave up on it. The CJ 110 I had in my fish room, so noise wasn't as much of an issue. But because it has that surface skimmer thing that you can't turn off, why the fuck they have that on there where you can't turn off, I don't know. But one of the things that I like to do is I like to do a water change without turning my hang-on back filter off. And with the AquaClears, I could run those things down to the point where it actually breaks siphon. As long as it's still on, it won't drain. And then you fill it back up, it'll spit out in the air, and you fill the tank back up, and the back filter will spit out air, and before the tank's all the way full, that sucker will be back up and running. I love my AquaClear hang-on back filters. And the whole difference between the pump being in the tank versus out of the tank, I get power outages all the time. Even before I had battery backups all surrounding my fish tanks, and I had my hang-on back filters plugged into battery backups. Even before that, one time at all the power outages that I've been through, has a hang-on back filter not turned back on, has an AquaClear not turned back on. Don't know why it didn't. Every other time it did. Something happened. It was a weird thing. One time out of, and I've tried to cut back on a lot of them. I switched over to a central air system. So I don't have. I have two aqua clear hang on backs running in the house, and I have let's see, two, three, four, five, six. I've got six running in the fish room. Um, but at one time, just about every tank had at least one on it. So I mean, I love my aqua clear hang on backs and the sea chase. Another thing about the sea chase, you buy it, and then I like to have my hang on backs full of foam. So if you buy the aqua clear, you've got like the aqua clear 100. It has a giant foam block in it. The CJ has this tiny little piece of foam in it, and you got to figure out what to do with the rest. If you could buy just one extra foam, and that aqua clear 100 is just chock full, you've got to buy two extra packages of these oddly shaped sponges to fill up that chamber sponge wise, and you can't get nearly as much sponge in it. I mean, I could go on for days. I strongly suspect that a lot of the hype about these titles is because CJ was paying for a lot of these positive reviews. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Anyway, back to Pasco.
Who are making things like our lights, our filters, etc., right? And let me give short context as to why I want to talk about this. I was watching a video from KGTropicals over the weekend. I think it was like Sunday. And Sean put a lot of blame on people using things like Amazon to get a better deal for being the problem.
No, he did not. See, this is the first thing. He said that they take advantage of stupid people. It's not the people buying that's the problem. It's the people who are taking advantage of systems that are the problem. It's the people who are taking advantage of selling below map prices who are the problem. It's the manufacturers who are flooding the market with junk that are the problem. Because mom and pop fish stores can't get these junk products. I may not have made that clear, but it's not just the fact that they're flooding it with junk that's going to fail. It's that the mom and pop fish stores can't compete with that. They can't buy heaters anywhere. They can't buy 50-watt heaters anywhere that they can sell for $8. At least not and make a profit. I mean, technically, I guess they could buy them from Amazon and just turn around and sell them for a loss. But like, why would you do that, right? Where is mom and pop shop going to be able to buy heaters at a low enough price that they can sell them for $8? It's not the people buying that's the problem. It's the people who are cheating the system.
Of the aquarium industry. And I think that is patently wrong. And let me explain.
Well, I'm going to make my straw man and then say it's patently wrong. Congratulations.
There is a well-known part of whether you want to deem it nature or existence from a corporate perspective, business perspective.
So there is a huge range of quality in fish equipment. Sometimes you're paying a lot for a name, but most of the time you're paying a lot for a better product. There is a reason why the Fluval FX6 is the cost it is, and it's worth every penny of it. You can spend a lot less money and get a lot less filter, something that's not going to last nearly as long. But you're going to have a hard time going wrong if you buy CJ or Fluval. You're going to have the thing with like these systems, like if your filter stops working, especially if you're not aware of it, your fish can die. And that's a problem, right? So if you don't want your fish to die, well, you might want to consider investing in good equipment. And like heaters kill fish. Heaters kill fish all the time. They'll explode the tank if they're cheap or if they're used incorrectly. The contacts will fuse shut, and so the heater will stay on, and you'll cook your fish. So you definitely want to buy good quality heaters.
And that is adapt or die. Adapt or die.
Well, so so explain to me, Bentley, and I'm sure you're going to. I've listened to this. You don't explain to me how the fish store that has to sell the products it can sell, it has to sell for the map price. And so they get undercut by the prices on Amazon, and they can't sell the really cheap stuff that you could buy on Amazon. How do you adapt for that? How do you adapt for that? I mean, you're gonna throw out the Corey of the world, and that's great. There's room for a Corey out there. Corey developed his own fish line of stuff. There's nobody who could undercut Corey on Corey's product, right? And Corey's an excellent salesman, and Corey, he has built a huge fan base that really supports him, and that's fucking awesome. Is there room for a whole nother aquarium co-op out there? Is there a market for it? Or are the people who want a good quality product that's been tested in a fish room by someone like Corey, who stands behind his shit 100%, no fucking problems, he will take care of you. Absolutely, without question, will take care of you. There's a market for that, and he's filling it. There's not a huge extra market for it. You're going to get the people who are like, I want the best of the best. They're not in Corey's field. They're going to go up to the Chihiro's people and stuff like that. And then you got the people who, I just want to have my little fish tank in my kid's bedroom, and it's going to have a couple goldfish in it, and I don't care if the tank is too small for goldfish. I'm going to do it, and it's going to have a cheap-ass bubbler, and I'm going to call it a day. You've got that kind of range of people. There's not the field has been occupied for people like Corey. So explain how specifically people are going to get products to sell at their mom and pop shops that they can sell at a price that they can compete with Amazon on. Products that they can sell and compete with Amazon on.
I was talking with a friend yesterday, and we were reminiscing about Sears, the company, and how basically venture capital came in, stripped out all of its value, put these insane loans on Sears, the business, so they could strip all the money out of the company for themselves and then watch Sears fall apart. But Sears, before venture capital purchased it, was too stubborn to start adapting to change.
Every heater I've ever bought has been not correctly calibrated. The really cheap ones, they use a bimetallic contact. So one metal expands faster than the other one does, or contracts faster than the other one does. I'm not sure exactly how it goes, but it causes it to bend instead of both contracting at the same time, meaning make it stay straight. It contracts at a different rate, so it'll bend, so it'll make contact. And number one, that can wear out. But the most common thing that I've seen is that you'll get a little moisture into the heater, not enough to kill it, but it'll create a little bit of corrosion where that arc is, the electrical arc from that contact being made broken all the time, and eventually it'll stick. And that's where things go wrong. When it sticks, it stays on and you cook fish, which is why I heat my fish room, and I've pulled out all the heaters.
Because they could have very easily done what Walmart has done. Walmart as a company, whether you like them or not, I'm personally not a big fan of Walmart. I hate a lot of things that they do to small business, but there are things that they have done for their own survival to compete with a company like Amazon or AliExpress or Temu, like any of these things, right? In order to survive. And that is, they established a very strong online presence.
There are a few fish stores who've developed a very strong online presence, but even the fish stores that develop a very strong online presence, with the exception of Corey, if they're going to actually generate revenue off of it, they have to compete with Amazon still. They have to keep their prices at the map level because they have a brick and mortar store. So probably they're selling fish. Probably they're selling fish. They might have other stuff up on their website, hoping that people will buy it there. But come on, dude. Like a strong online presence is going to turn around the difference of what was that CJ difference in price? So a strong online presence is going to get a customer to spend $21 more for your product. Look at all my added expense of having a online presence. Look at my added expense of having an online presence that allows me to sell my product for $21 more than Amazon does. Oh, and by the way, because most people have Amazon Prime, they get Prime delivery for free. So now not only am I most likely going to have to sell my product for $21 more than Amazon, but I'm also going to have to charge for delivery? Like, you got to be out your goddamn mind, Bentley. Ooh, a strong online presence. That'll fix it.
If you look in any sponsored like links of products in a lot of modern YouTube videos, they're through Walmart. If it's not an individual.
Yeah, okay, so it's through Walmart. Oh, well, congratulations. So fish stores are going to have to turn into Walmart? A mom and pop fish store is going to have to compete with the buying power of Walmart. Makes sense, Bentley. That's something that every fucking fish company should just do. They should just compete with Amazon by magically having the purchasing power of Walmart. Oh, well, all these links that go to, I've never seen links that go to Walmart, but I'm sure somebody does. Maybe that's because Walmart has paid a lot of money for servers that can host this data, and paid a lot of money to have people who can manage this data and manage the interactions and have a huge budget because of the volume of business that they're doing, a volume of business that a mom and pop shop cannot have. They could do like Bentley. I don't know how you're missing this, Bentley. You just got to adapt. Even though the playing field is stacked immeasurably against you, you just got to adapt. You be like Walmart, boys.
Business, like say keep fish keeping for KGTropicals, because they can set things up to give links to their products in the little menagerie. It's not the right word, but you know what I'm saying. Like the little gallery. That's what I'm looking for. The gallery.
So this is the links in KGTropicals. Now, this might astound you. Here you go. This is the KGTropicals. These are the links. This might astound you, but this link is going to take me to KGTropicals website. You can't see this. I don't know what you're saying, dude. Like, are you saying that like Walmart is hosting this somehow? Are you saying that Walmart is doing fulfillment services? If you buy it on here, it actually ships from Walmart? I don't even understand what the fuck you're going on about, Bentley.
Of various linked products on a YouTube video. It goes to Walmart. It's using Walmart's platform, which is basically doing the same thing Amazon is doing, but they tend to offer all the things that Walmart would do anyway. Competitive pricing. They're relatively fast when it comes to shipping. I found some phenomenal deals through Walmart buying flu ball.
So basically your alternative, really what he's saying here is your alternative is to be a giant mega conglomeration or mega corporation that has immense purchasing power in order to compete with Amazon. Brilliant stuff.
Ulstratum at dirt cheap prices, way less than anywhere else. And it's probably why I have enough to fill like another 10 tanks worth of it downstairs in my vault of substrate in my house. But Sears could have done the same thing. but they didn't.
I know. He's way off in the weeds. First of all, he starts talking about Sears, which was at one point in time a pretty massive corporation. Sears Roebuck. I mean, they used to sell fucking houses. You could buy a house from Sears Roebuck, and they would send you a house. They were the IKEA of houses, but they would send you a motherfucking house that you would have to build. So he's like already like out of the gate. His hypotheticals is flawed because he's talking about Sears, but he's like, "Oh, you got to turn into Walmart." Like, I mean, dare to live the dream, right? Mom and pop Walmart shop.
And since they didn't adapt, they died. Now let's start first with the case of local fish stores. There are several problems affecting. Zenny sees it. We punned a little. It's okay. Getting old, we can dad joke it, right? There are several problems with local fish stores, and I'll give a couple of examples.
Yeah, so let's talk about the map pricing issue, where you could buy the name brand products for apparently like $20 less on Amazon that you can't buy at the mom and pop shop because of map pricing. Or let's talk about the hordes of knockoff random shit that you could buy on Amazon for dirt cheap, for less money than the local fish stores, even if they could buy it, would be able to sell it for.
As to where they aren't adapting. And I've seen this locally. You know, I have stores.
Again, it's the adapting, just ignore it. But he gets onto map pricing later. I promise you. It gets better. It's just very frustrating.
Relatively near me that honestly are like on the verge of closing up shop because they're still trying to operate in a method and way that is archaic at this point. So like
that's basically what he's saying. Yes.
Uncle Smiley's Aquarium said, my big problem with the LFS is it isn't very local. So with the cost of gas and typically higher store prices, it really does make the jungle store.
And higher store prices. Did you hear him? The cost of gas and higher store prices. That's what his subscriber is telling him, right? So what are the two things that his subscriber is telling him? Number one, I could get it cheaper with Prime because I don't have to spend gas. And number two, which would be 2 and 3, everything's cheaper on Amazon because the name brand stuff is getting sold below map and the off-brand stuff is getting sold dirt fucking cheap. Ta-da!
Or more appealing, like Amazon, right? And that makes sense.
And that makes sense.
I think for the most part, a lot of us are okay paying a little bit more.
And that makes sense. Like bro, and boom, done. Boom, done. Why the fuck are you picking on his video when right there? That makes sense. No shit. That's what he took 16 minutes to explain.
Not a lot, but a little bit.
Not a lot, but a little bit. Not like when you could buy something for $69 or you could pay $91. That's a lot more.
As long as we're supporting a small business. So we'll accept a small amount of markup, or maybe we'll take that, okay, they compete on pricing, but I have to drive quite a bit further. And there are a lot of people who don't.
But see, they can't compete on pricing and you have to drive. It's a double whammy, dude.
Have a local fish store that is really close. The local fish store, in some cases, I've got some friends that I've talked to where the local fish store is like 2 hours away, and they're okay with that. Because of typically the store is a really good store that offers great customer service, that does this, that does that. There are things that they do really, really well that incentivize people to keep being a patron of their business.
So, Aquarium and Reptile Depot. I forget the name of it. Aquarium Depot. Aquarium and Reptile Depot. That is the name of it. It's the most basic name. That is like my number one preferred fish store to go to. They've got a great selection of fish. They're an aquarium co-op dealer, so I could buy aquarium co-op stuff from them directly. And you know, I'm dumb. I spent over $18,000 on aquarium stuff last year, or so the accountant tells me. And I am willing to spend extra money to get good products and to support my local fish stores. because they need to survive. I spent enough money at Aquarium and Reptile Depot last year that I got a Christmas gift from them. But it is a drive for me. And other than the aquarium co-op stuff, everything is more expensive. I bought what is that AI Blades light, a 4-foot light. That son of a bitch was like $500. I could have got it for at least $100 less online. Like, it's insane. But I understand what they're up against, you know. And I've seen like so many fish stores close down. I've got like 3 fish stores that I would even consider going to in my area that I don't have to drive like an insane amount of time to get to. I mean, and there used to be a lot more. And what's killing them? Well, I don't know. You know what? Coincidentally, a lot of them started dying off in the mid 2000s.
But what a lot of stores don't do is a couple of different things. Alyssa hit this on the head really well. One is a lack of understanding like modern advertising or interaction with the community.
How are they going to advertise away a more than 20% difference in price?
Right? You can't just be reliant 100% on drive-by traffic. And I think the pandemic really affected people.
I only bought one of those AI blades to test it out. I've got some fluval whatever their plant lights are. But then all the rest of my lights are the aquarium co-op ones because they're excellent quality and I don't need all the extra bells and whistles. So
people in this way. A lot of people, especially those of us who are in this hobby, where a lot of us are not necessarily people that want to go out a lot. We tend to like just bunker down in our homes pretty often, right? So we're not driving by those businesses.
Yeah, we tend to bunker down in our homes. We're not driving by those businesses. So you know what we're doing when we're hunkering down at our homes, Bentley? Shopping on Amazon, brother. Because there is no incentive for us to get up off of our asses and go out to our local fish stores because you could buy it more conveniently and cheaper on Amazon, which is John's point.
Which means you need to find a way, whether that is Facebook groups, whether that is some semblance of advertising, email lists, some kind of community building. Many of the stores that are local to the Seattle area are all sponsor stores for the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society. So every time a newsletter goes,
so great, you have a newsletter. Great, you have a Facebook page. Great, phenomenal. So they're online already, and they're looking at your Facebook page, and they think, I do need. Thanks for reminding me, local fish store. I do need a new filter for my new 40-gallon breeder I just got on the Petco $1 a gallon sale. So I'm going to go look on Amazon for a new one because last time I checked, they were cutting under your prices by like 20%. Like, how do you advertise yourself out of a 20% plus difference in price? Because remember the $8 heater versus a $40 heater? If you just add up the specs, it's 50 watts and 50 watts. How do you advertise your way out of that, Bentley? Don't give me platitudes like, you just got to have a Facebook page. Facebook pages solve everything.
Goes out every time there's a meeting. There's information about all of our sponsor stores to give them.
So now, boys, here's Brentley's big plan. Brentley's big plan is you have to sponsor aquarium societies. You have to give them money. You have to give away money to get advertisement in the local aquarium society stuff. Now you can call me stupid because I probably am, but I have never met anybody who is into fish enough to be involved in an aquarium society that didn't know every goddamn fish store within 100 miles of them. It probably has been to them at least once in the past year. Well, so Extreme Fish Food, Aquarium and Reptile Depot has Extreme Fish Food. So I get it from them. Or at least I get it from them when I don't order it directly from Aquarium Co-op because I'm fucking lazy. And sometimes you're too busy to go out of your way to go to a fish store.
Them some love, and typically we as club members have a discount at those sponsor stores. So it's kind of a thing where the stores.
So now you got so now Brantley's big fucking plan is to have the fish store, the mom and pop store, who's getting undercut by 20% on Facebook, pay for a sponsorship and then give you a discount on what you're buying. Well, okay. They'd have to give you like a 20% discount to catch up to Facebook, right? Jesus. And so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is just my experience. But when I get a discount at a fish store, I buy fish with it. Usually they don't have that good a discount on dry goods. And there's a reason why. They have an incentive to move fish out. They have a disincentive to undercut their dry goods. The dry goods are really where they make their money. You sell some fish, but what you're hoping to do is you're hoping to sell the aquarium and the heater and all this other stuff where you get that 20% markup that you need and you get rid of the fish that's costing you money to keep it alive and etc. So
accept a little discount, they're going to make a little less money, but they're trying to get continuous business and advertise through the club and all the club's events. This is a more modern way to take that approach, right? And I think there's lots of opportunities. One of the best examples, period, is going to be the Aquarium Co-op. The Aquarium Co-op.
See, like all you have to do, guys, all you have to do is be fucking Corey. You have to find a niche. You have to be able to exploit that niche and build and maintain your own fucking product line. Corey said, how much did Corey say he spent on like shipments of lights, like millions and millions of dollars in inventory? And he has a fucking warehouse, right? So all your mom and pop store needs to do, if you can't be Walmart to compete with Amazon, all you gotta do is be Corey. And have a giant fucking warehouse and millions of dollars that you can spend on buying products that you have custom manufactured to your specifications from manufacturers in China. And by the way, you get to help support a lot of this by your hundreds of thousands of online subscribers. How many subscribers do you have, Bentley? Bentley Pasco has probably less subscribers than Aquarium Co-op has community members.
If stores refuse to change, understand that as much as you might not be able to buy in the level of quantity that Amazon does, you do still have to try.
It's not even fucking Amazon, you dumb shit. The two issues were my fucking retarded friend, and I apologize, I like you, but I can't believe that you're misrepresenting John's video this bad. The issues were, number one, third-party sellers who sell their product through Amazon. So the manufacturers like Seachem, like Fluval, can't go to Amazon and say, Amazon, you're breaking the map. We're not going to sell to you anymore. Amazon's just like, it's not us, bro. It's them. You need to deal with them. And the them is a third-party seller who's a fly-by-night, who could change his name on a whim at the drop of a hat. who can have zero relationship with Fluval other than the fact that they fucking bought hi, I'm Mr. X. I would like to buy 100,000 units of this superior filter, Fluval. Fluval goes, oh, shit, if you can write the check, they're yours. Here's the check. There you go. Remember to sell it for MAP pricing. Mr. X absolutely goes on to Amazon, sells it for 20% under. Fluval says, Mr. X, you're breaking the MAP price. We're not going to sell it to you anymore. And then Mr. X puts on a fucking hat and says, hi, Fluval, I'm Mr. Y. I would like to buy $100,000 or 100,000 units of your fine filter. That's the fucking problem. The other problem is the fulfillment portion of Amazon, where the manufacturer sends it directly to Amazon. Amazon doesn't buy the product. Amazon isn't selling the product. It's not Amazon's product. They're just handling the sales and the customer service. It is the manufacturer's product that Amazon is getting paid a cut to sell.
Is you might not be able to buy in the level of quantity that Amazon does.
So it's not Amazon. It's not Amazon. You missed that. You missed it by a fucking mile, dude.
You do still have to try and compete at some rate. Now, John from KGTropicals did mention this thing called minimum advertised price, or MAP pricing. And I'm actually really familiar with MAP because back when I used to work in marketing and merchandising, when I worked for a flooring company ages and ages ago, was right when MAP got put into place. And learning all of the legalities and rules around MAP, because we could use it not only as something as a guideline for ourselves, but a weapon against our competitors. Because
as a weapon against your competitors. So mom and pop shops have to sell by MAP, or else their competitors are going to use it as a weapon against them. They're going to say, hey, Fluval, Billy Bob's Fish Emporium is selling below MAP. And Fluval's going to be like, Billy Bob's Fish Emporium, you need to sell at MAP, or else we're not going to sell to you anymore. So how is Billy Bob's Fish Emporium going to compete with Amazon? Because the third-party sellers on Amazon can sell it for 20% below MAP. Explain it to us.
If our competitors were ever lower than that, we would go after them. Cutthroat, yes, but when you're in an industry where the operating profit margin is typically like 6%, really tiny profit margins, you take anything you can, right? And one of the things that I would say is a lot of people think you need to have very high profit margins in order to survive as a business. Costco operates at 13% margin, which compared to a lot of other places, even Amazon, is.
So there is this phenomenon known as selling in bulk. Costco makes a little bit of profit on each sale, but if you've ever gone into a Costco, it's fucking full of people buying stuff. So they make a lot of sales. And if you make a little bit of money on a lot of sales, you're doing pretty good. Mom and pop shops don't have lines of people buying product all day long where they have to have rows and rows and rows and rows and rows of cashiers. They have maybe a cashier, maybe a cashier. I think Aquarium and Reptile Depot, I think they have 2 cashiering stations that the owners typically manage, that they're typically at. Usually only one's active at a time, but if they get busy, maybe they'll open 2 up. And that is probably the biggest fish store in the greater Sacramento area. It certainly gets the busiest of any fish stores that I've been in. But you're trying to compare an industry like Costco that can sell on volume there are machines, there are computers in the stock exchange, the New York Stock Exchange. And what they do is they buy and sell incredibly fast. They're in the stock exchange to minimize the lag time between buying and selling. And they buy and sell on pennies. But if you move hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of stock in a sale, or hundreds of millions of units of stock in a sale, and you make a penny each, you've made a shit ton of money on one transaction. So you could have a very, very minuscule margin of income on each stock transaction, and still just by the pure volume, you could make hundreds of millions of dollars a day. Mom and pop shops can't do that. Like I said, they have product that sits there for long periods of time. And it's only gotten worse since Amazon's been in place, because fewer and fewer people are going there to buy the products that they do have.
Is kind of low, but it's because their business model is designed different, and they have figured out the way to make their customers happy. How often do you find somebody who's
Well, you got to ignore the membership fee. You got to ignore that. I mean, I'm assuming the 13% would include the membership fees, but who knows, right? Who knows?
not a fan of Costco? Or how often do you find somebody's like, yeah, I was going for Costco for like 20 years, and I just decided I'm tired with it. You don't find that. Costco is one of those companies that, whether it's like In-N-Out, the burger place, right, where, or if you're local to the Seattle area, there's a similar kind of, been around at the same time, called Dick's Drive-In. These places build insane, what we would call in the industry, brand loyalty, because they offer the right balance of things.
Right. And also, you can't buy a fucking hamburger for 20% less than what In-N-Out sells it for on Amazon. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that In-N-Out doesn't have to compete with Amazon?
Things. Their pricing might be slightly better or more expensive than maybe a competitor. In the case of, like, say, your In-N-Outs or something like that, they're probably more expensive than going to McDonald's. But
so again, here's the thing: people can really quickly tell the quality or the taste of a burger. They can do that pretty quickly. And people have to eat every day. And so if you get someone without a lot of money, they could go buy a hamburger at McDonald's, or if they don't want to spend a lot of money, or if they want a more flavorful treat, they could go to In-N-Out. But they know what they're getting, right? But what they can't do is they can't be like, you know what? I want In-N-Out, so I'm going to DoorDash In-N-Out. But here's the weird thing. I'm going to order it from Amazon, and I'm going to pay 20% less. In-N-Out's not going to get any of that money. It's going to come right to my door, right to my house for free. And I pay 20% less for it. Why would I even have to get in the car to go to In-N-Out? The only time now I'm going to go to In-N-Out is if I'm in the area and it's convenient. Otherwise, just get that DoorDash, right? Except it's an In-N-Out burger that In-N-Out doesn't get paid for. That's a more apt comparison.
You're getting something that's way better, right, in quality, and usually significantly better customer service. Fish stores need to adapt, and there's been some great ones. So an example that
he has never addressed how the fish store can get around the map pricing issue. He has not addressed how the fish store can get around the price that around the junk being dumped on Amazon that sells for a fifth of what the fish store can sell a comparable product for.
That we had in chat that was referenced, I don't know, I think it was like 4 or 5 months ago. It was a store that during the pandemic had set up basically online ordering or email ordering, and you just come curbside and they would bring your order out to you so that they could keep operating.
Well, the mom and pop stores are operating right now. I mean, they're just competing with someone who could sell the identical same product for 20% less, and you don't have to go to their store to get it.
And they started working and kind of keep engaging more and more people in things like their Facebook community and building basically email lists so that they could put out the akin of like what we think of as a newsletter in the past. These are ways to adapt to a situation that
I believe I've heard this story before, and I believe that they were selling like fish. This isn't a drive up to your local fish store to pick up dry goods, a new filter. I mean, they probably would be able to sell you a filter, but this was so they could sell fish. Because I remember him talking about this. You'd email it, they'd get your order ready, they'd bag up your fish, and then you'd be able to buy it during the pandemic when you could go in and shop for fish. So they could keep selling fish, if I remember his story.
That now, long term, are practices they're still using. They're still using things where people can mail into them, ask about certain items, get them held, all these kind of things, right? They've
mail into them, ask them about prices. Woo! This mind-bending stuff, Bentley. Mind-bending stuff. Get products held for them. Why would a customer call in to have a product held for them if they could buy the exact same product on Amazon for 20% less and have it delivered to their door for free?
created a extended level of customer service that makes people want to continue to go to them and support their business.
Well, see, like, here's the thing, Jay, you're hitting on a good point. But most fish stores have failed. The vast bulk of fish stores out there, aquarium stores, have failed. They fell. They were experiencing a lot of pressure from PetSmart and Petco, the big box stores, and Amazon. I mean, there used to be a ton of bookstores out there. And then Amazon started selling books and bookstores went away. And now you have very few Barnes and Nobles floating around. Walmart's killed off a lot of small town shops. People go to Walmart instead of going to a local store. I remember my parents lived in Arkansas for a while, and like the store that they could shop at, literally the store, not a store, the store they could shop at was a Walmart. And that Walmart killed off like 4 or 5 mom and pop stores when it came in. They couldn't compete.
These are the things that people have to adapt to. Now, let's talk about the big boys, because I think this one's interesting. And just in case, I know we've got a few really good comments that I want to capture, but we'll catch them in a sec. John in his piece talked about a lot of like the random manufacturers, quotation marks, that you've never heard of, like the AQQA or whatever it is, and even Haiger in some regards, where they're basically just bringing over wholesale Chinese-made goods, mostly very cheap items, right? They're economically priced, and just selling them straight off at insanely cheap prices, so that something like a similar size, quotation marks around this because everybody gets in my teeth whenever I do this, but a similar size and functional sponge filter to what the Aquarium Co-op sells is like $8 instead of the Aquarium Co-op's filter before they put the little jet lifter tube thing on it. That was like 16, right? So, but often they're cheaply made, so they don't last as long or they have some other problem. But we as a consumer culture chase the deal, big quotation marks around the deal, right? Getting the thing that is the best price in our minds. But what the larger companies need to start adapting toward is building products that are of a level of either quality or function or whatever other benefit it might be, of either adapting toward in our minds. But what the larger companies need to start adapting toward.
Now he starts talking about what the manufacturers have to do. Now, the issue that John in Aquarium Co or in KGTropicals was raising wasn't that these Chinese knockoffs are out competing the big brand manufacturers, the Fluvels and the Seachems and Waze, things like that. What he's saying is that they're flooding the market with this crap that they can sell so far below what the mom and pop store can sell anything equivalent at. Why would you go? The point is, why would you go to a mom and pop store to buy a $40 50-watt heater when you could buy an $8 50-watt heater on Amazon? You, the uneducated, not you, Bentley Pasco, who knows more about fish keeping than I've ever even imagined, but like my wife, she thinks fish are pretty. She wouldn't know a good brand from a bad brand. How would you convince my wife, to buy a $40 heater when she could buy an $8 heater when the specs are the same? How is a fish store going to compete with that? Get my wife to drive 20 minutes to buy a $40 heater when she could flick on her phone and buy an $8 heater without spending any time and trouble. It's not how does CCAM compete with AQQA? It's how does a mom and pop fish store compete with the garbage that's being dumped on Amazon?
Ford is building products that are of a level of either quality or function or whatever other benefit it might be, while staying aggressively priced, that are so good that you basically have to be, and I say this with some love, like you'd be an idiot to not buy that one. For the longest time, AquaClear filters were basically the only filter you would probably ever buy.
So he did a video on this, like how pricing works if you buy from China, right? And the thing is, if you buy small quantities from China, you pay quite a bit more than if you buy 5,000 units. If you buy 2 units, you're going to pay a lot more than if you buy 5,000 units. Now, let's stop and think again about the mom and pop store. They want to buy these more aggressively priced sponge filters, right? Let's say they do. How much room do they have on their shelves? How many do they sell a week? How much storage space do they have? What is the cost per square foot for them to rent that storage space? How much money can they afford to have tied up in product when they have to pay employees and buy new fish? How many different products do they have to do this for? So Corey from Aquarium Co-op has a fucking massive warehouse. And he has a limited line of things that he sells out of it. And for the stuff that he sells in his actual fish store, he probably keeps a few of the so he doesn't sell heaters anymore, right? His own brand heaters. So he probably keeps enough heaters to keep the shelves kind of relatively full, and he orders them from his wholesaler every week or two whenever he has to make an order to get more in. He probably doesn't buy the heaters he does sell in giant wholesale by the fucking railroad car container full, because there is a time value of money. So, and you know this, Bentley. You've done a video on it. So you know that mom and pop shops are only going to be able to buy onesies, twosies. So they're not going to be able to buy direct from China. So they're going to have to buy from a wholesaler who does buy the containers full. And that wholesaler who buys the containers full is going to get his lick. He's going to get his bit. So they can't compete. The guys, the manufacturers who are selling directly through Amazon don't have a wholesale. Nobody else is getting a lick on the entire way through, except for Amazon's getting their bit off the top. So there's just no competing with it. There's no competing with it.
To hang on the back of your aquarium, unless you got like one of those insane deals where you can pick up one of the Marineland penguins for like $20 or whatever the heck it was, right? When they would get dirt cheap, like one time a year at a Petco sale or PetSmart or whatever, then it makes sense. Like, well, I'll buy like 5 of them because they're so cheap that it's worth it. But otherwise, from a perspective of quality, how long they ran, how effective they were, how easy they were to service, blah, 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 pick everything. The AquaClear was king for like 30 years. I mean, it was a while. I remember, before the title came out and a couple of other more recent filters started kind of getting into the market and adding some competition. So you would, unless you got a filter for effectively free, you would always buy an AquaClear.
See, he's talking about what I call like a hobbyist. Someone who isn't on their first tank, not my wife who, oh shit, my fish are cold. I have to buy a heater. Okay. How it's gotta be 50 watts. Okay. Oh, here's a 50-watt heater for $8. Sure. I'll go for it. Hobbyist, yes. Like fish nerds like me, we read fish forums. We watch guys like you. Most people with a fish tank aren't us. They have a fish tank in their kid's bedroom with a goldfish in it, dude. You and me, we're the exceptions. We're not average hobbyists.
Because it was hands down the best hang-on back filter. And it was relatively economically priced, or you could find used ones, you know, because every once in a while somebody would change out to something different or they break down a tank.
So buying used equipment now, like that, like what the fuck does this have to do with the price of rice in China? Dude, what are we fucking talking about here? Buying used filters is somehow a solution to the issue of Amazon and its effect on mom and pop stores? Like, I strongly suspect that Bentley has to fucking come up. He's got a scheduled live stream, right? He's got a scheduled live stream, so he's got to like, shit, I need a topic. Fuck. What am I going to talk about? I don't really do anything with fish tanks really much. You know, I don't set up new ones all the time or anything like that. What am I going to make a video about? What hasn't already had a million videos made about it? Oh, there's this video that KGTropicals did. You know, I know I've worked for Amazon. Bentley's worked for Amazon. I think he was part of their software team, design team or something like that, if I remember correctly. And excuse me if I'm wrong. I thought he had something to do with Amazon. But he's probably thinking, like, I got a bit of a grasp of this. I kind of know how the import thing works and how all this costing works. And so I'm going to take a stab at it. But he didn't really think about it. He's like, shit, you know, I gotta fucking start streaming in an hour. Oh shit, I saw this one from KGTropicals. Let's go. Oh, hey, by the way, guys, you could go on Craigslist and find used stuff. That'll solve the whole industry problem that we got going on.
You'd be able to get a used AquaClear way cheap, and they just run forever if you service them. As long as you take care of them, they run forever, right? That kind of offering would make it so that you would never look at the like.
Yeah, like I will very rarely make a fish video, obviously, very rarely. Because number one, my audience really doesn't appreciate it. Number two, like, I don't think I have anything to add. Like, first of all, I'm not smart enough about any of the fish stuff to really speak with any level of confidence about really fucking anything. You know, I'm happy if I get a plant to grow, right? I'm happy if my fish last for a year. You know, I'm happy about that. I fiddly fuck around. I've got, you know, stuff going on in my fish room, but like, it's amateur hour in there. No one wants that shit. And I'm not nice enough or polite enough or charitable enough or whatever enough that people are just going to want to hang out to watch that shit. So, you know, it'd just be a waste of time. It'd just be me jerking myself off in my fish room. And I do that anyway. I don't need to film it.
ABZFT Aquatics Company, you know, because they always have weird collection of letter names. You've ever noticed that, where like they don't make actual words? A lot of them, except Tiger is like the closest one that sounds like it's an actual word. And you'll see all these like weird cheap filters on there, but you would never buy them because you just knew the AquaClear is the best. It's at a pretty reasonable price.
Because you just knew. How did you just know, Bentley? How did you just know? How did you know it was at a reasonable price, Bentley? Did you know how much it cost them to the fish store to buy it? What markup did they have? Was this back before you had Amazon with third-party sellers undercutting map pricing by 20%? And AquaClear hang-on back filters are still the best, and I still buy them. But I mean, I am not your average aquarium owner. I may be your average aquarium enthusiast, but I'm not your average aquarium owner.
You buy the AquaClear. And I think companies need to continue doing that. I think one of the things that hurts some of the big companies, like let's use Awaze as an example. Awaze makes a wonderful product when it comes to their canister filters. They got a few others that are not so great, but their canister filters are great. But the problem is we look at the price tag on a canister filter, and when you identify that it is basically a lot of plastic parts and a pump motor that's not super powerful It's good for a canister, but it's not really that much more powerful than something.
Yeah. So there have been a lot of lines of products. Like if you watch Corey, he goes over a lot of lines of products, like specific heaters that used to be just bulletproof and now they're not. The name didn't change, so you have no idea whether you bought like the good one or the bad one until it goes out on you. But yeah, it's. I mean, it can happen.
In a significantly cheaper, whether it's canister filter or hang on the back, but then you're going to end up paying like $300 for the thing. It's not well priced compared to a lot of other options out there, so it naturally steers a lot of people away from it. You could adapt.
So what Bentley's trying to say here, is that people are very price conscious. So they're going to buy a cheaper alternative. So instead of going, this is what Bentley's saying without realizing he's fucking saying it. So instead of going to the mom and pop store where they have to pay MAP price for name brand products and they can't get the dirt cheap garbage products, they're going to go to Amazon where they could buy quality stuff, the name brand stuff for 20% less, or they're going to buy the garbage stuff for dirt cheap. Either way, they're not shopping at the motherfucking mom and pop store. People are price driven. Congratulations, you figured it out. That's the problem.
Right? Now, there's a strong following. Don't get me wrong. Wasabi has a very strong following for people that do very high-end aquariums. But how do you get that person who is more interested in, like, I just want to have a really nice 40-gallon breeder that I bought at the Petco half-off sale, and I'm not looking to spend, like, $10,000 to...
I know John Deere has two lines. They have the lines that they sell at, like, the box stores, and then they have the lines that they sell at the actual tractor stores. And you think they're the same, and they're not. Like the ones that they sell at the box stores have the name, and that's it. None of the manufacturing quality or anything like that. And then the ones that they sell at the actual like tractor stores, those are the high quality ones. Those are the ones that are going to last and hold up and yada yada yada.
To make my 40-gallon aquarium a nice planted tank. You know, I know 10,000 is excessive, don't get me wrong, but several $1,000s. That is where some of the big companies can start doing things, is you just have to continually build a quality product. Doesn't mean it has to last for an eternity. I mean, I'm an old...
This is just so missing the point, dude. So missing the point. The quality product is being sold for 20% less on Amazon. The manufacturer has made his nut. The fly-by-night third-party seller has bought the units from the manufacturer at the manufacturer's price. The manufacturer has made his nut. It's not the manufacturer who's getting squeezed out. It's the mom and pop.
Old man likes to yell at clouds in the sense of, I miss my heaters that could live for literally 30 years and keep on ticking, right? We don't really expect that in most modern design products, but we do want something that's going to last us 5 years, maybe 10 if we're lucky and we take good care of it. You know, an FX6, I don't know any FX6s that have lasted less than 5 years, right? And while they're expensive, I've seen people abuse them. I have one downstairs that I have abused, basically put in the level of maintenance I haven't done to it for 5 years now, and it just keeps on ticking. And I bought the thing used. It had been used for like 3 years before I got it, and it just...
And you could all buy it brand new for 20% under MAP on Amazon.
Just doesn't care because it's so well built that it becomes worth that extra money, right? And I think that's where the industry can learn. Now, fish stores, there are several great examples of good ones. I can even say that a couple of stores local to me have been making a number of great changes to get themselves in better shape than what they used to be. And I think they're finally realizing like some of the things they can do to make themselves better. But, and I know I've seen horror stories like this in the past from folks like you in chat, where it's like, yeah, my local fish store sucks. They don't ever quarantine anything. They did this. They don't really have a return or a health policy of any form. Like, why would anyone be a patron?
Why are we talking about they're keeping fish when the discussion is on the dry goods?
Of that store, when you could go to an online business like Dan's Fish, where you see videos all the time that show you the transparency, their process, how they do things, is a little more expensive. Yes, but you know all of the steps and things that are going into it, plus getting things that are...
See, here's the thing, big boy. more fish are sold at the big box stores than are sold at the fish stores. More people buy from the big box stores, PetSmart, Petco, Walmart. They buy from those more than they buy from your local mom and pop stores. And those PetSmart, Petco, and Walmart probably sell them for less, or maybe in the general kind of same price range or less, right? Dan has stated that he has a problem getting people to understand that he charges more because he wants to ethically treat the fish, and a lot of people are resistant to that. So there aren't a lot of niches for Dans out there. There aren't. God bless Dan. The man wants to have more ethically and humanely treated fish, and God bless him for it. But you're not going to convince the people who just, what, I want a fish tank. My kid wants a fish tank. I want to buy a goldfish. God damn it. Give me a fucking goldfish. I'm going to stick it in this 5-gallon tank, and I'm going to throw a bubbler in there, and we're going to call it good. Maybe a little SpongeBob SquarePants bubbler. And that's it, right? They don't fucking care, dude. They don't fucking care. Dan's fish has such a minuscule percentage of the fish sold in the U.S. Like, and this is no offense against Dan. He's nothing. He's a nobody. He's not selling a sizable amount of fish compared to what like Walmart is. And Walmart isn't even really a fish store, but they sell, I guarantee you that Walmart sells more fish across the U.S. than Dan does.
Are much harder to find in like the average fish store, big quotation marks around that, because many fish stores nowadays are becoming less average, and the average fish store I think is getting better. But we're seeing this.
Don't get me wrong, I love Dan's fish too. I've had maybe 3 or 4 orders from Dan's fish. They've all came in super perfect and healthy, perfect, like no issues with them. I've never had one of his fish get sick on me after I bought them. They all came in just super healthy and awesome. Dan's fish does it right. I love Dan's fish, and because I'm a fish nerd, it's worth it for me to spend the money to get the better quality fish that have been treated better. If I can, if he has the stock that I'm looking for, so don't get me wrong.
This increase in things, and those are the ones that are going to survive. Those are the ones that are going to do well. The industry as a whole has to learn that important lesson: adapt or die. So yeah, that's my piece. We'll get in a chat. Shade Aquatics Breeder.
All right, so that's the end of his little spiel. To sum up, he doesn't answer the real fucking problem. And I think I've beat the real fucking problem to death. He danced all around it. He says it's the lesson the entire aquarium industry must learn. And I didn't learn a goddamn thing. Did Montgomery Ward sell fish? My dad was a salesman at Montgomery Ward's. Yeah, Walmart's also sell fish. Hand to God, I've bought fish from Walmart before. Back in the day, I wouldn't buy them from Walmart anymore. I don't want to support that, but I've done it. Anyway, so that's my rant. And again, I just want to say, I might have used some spicy words for Bentley. I apologize. I like Bentley. Bentley's a super nice guy. I'm sure he's a way nicer guy than I am. And so I apologize for it, and I take back any mean words I said. But my God, he just missed the mark so hard on this one. He just missed the mark so fucking hard on this one. It hurt. I was just my entire drive home, I was just seething. Like, what the fuck are you doing, Bentley? What the fuck are you doing? What are you on about, Bentley? Oh, I had to make a video about this. So anyway, for all 15 of you, thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely evening, and go enjoy some fish.